Well, hello and welcome once again to the DCL Podcast, where we're inviting you to sit back, relax, and we'll be on our way shortly.
What's up, DCL Podcast? Lake here, along with my co-host, Christy.
Hi.
And we are on board the Disney Fantasy.
I'm so excited. I love this ship so much. I
know. It's crazy that we booked this sailing together like a year and a half ago. And now it is finally here. We are on board. We are going to Lighthouse Point. And just all the crazy fun stuff.
Yeah, I forgot. You never book in advance. Katie said it in something that the only time you ever book a cruise in advance basically is if you're joining us. You're joining me.
I said that on Instagram yesterday.
There you go.
If we're with a group, yes, because
right.
In the past we've booked a lot of DCL stuff on rates, which is typically like a couple months in advance, not a year.
Yes, we love those Florida pass holder discounts.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which is solid.
But embarkation was good. Christy kind of got us in to go through the process with them. Basically just, we would walk up to the concierge line. She'd say, hey, they're with us, but they're not concierge. And for the most part, they were pretty much like, yeah, okay, whatever.
Yeah, so we are concierge this cruise, which is funny because it's more expensive than the Treasure next year, which has a better concierge lounge, if you ask me, but this is a better ship. But, I mean, that's awful to say in the beginning of this podcast, but also...
Well, it's our first time on the Fantasy.
Isn't she beautiful?
She is so far. We've only gotten to see a little bit. We've done the atrium. We've been in...
Which is the best.
The atrium is pretty, yeah.
I love the peacock theme, which doesn't really match anything else, but I don't care. I love it so much.
I think it matches.
Tomorrow we'll get to see Captain Minnie in her, like, peacock...
Formal outfit. That's only for the ship. So that's exciting. But yeah, but then they did let us join Christy for the concierge lunch, which, I mean, it's really the similar menu, except there's like one additional item and they serve you champagne. Right. You get to have wine, beer, and sparkling wine. Bubbly. So I don't think it's real champagne, but it was delicious. No, they even say it's sparkling wine. Yeah. But very good. So, yeah, they got to join us. We're going to see if we can add more people to a champagne tasting at some point on this cruise. Apparently, Lake wants brunch, Palo brunch, so we might add that at some point to this cruise. I am craving that chicken parm. Oh, my God. And on the Wish, it was amazing. I'll have to tell them if we do get it that they should bread it because the Wish can bread it. And you know what's funny is these ships are very competitive. If you tell them another ship can do something, usually they try to, like, one-up them. Yeah, but we got our staterooms. Katie and I are in the Deluxe Family Ocean View. We love it. It's got that big dreamy window with the cushioning on the seat. Plenty of space. We fully unpacked for this one, which, I mean, we usually unpack to an extent, but this time we were, like, everything out of the suitcases. Yep. So everything is nice and homely in its places. Yeah, we did that as well. We're in just a family veranda in concierge, so regular veranda size. Blake is super excited that he gets to have a bunk bed because our last few cruises haven't had one. And he loves himself a good bunk bed. Good. Which he started the first time when we were with Nova on the Wish. And so we had 4 people and he had to sleep in the bunk bed and he was so nervous about it. And now he's like, I want the bunk bed every time. Yes. Blake has not seen the edge yet, has he? He did. He went in between our lunch. So Blake, poor little baby, had like... Sorry, guys, by the way. I wanted to bring it to Yeah. No, but I'm sorry that it interrupted your lunch. But he had... Totally fine. He had like a little... Meltdown. I mean... Moment. A moment. Moment's better. Because meltdown, he wasn't like ridiculous. But he did have a moment. And I'm like, Lake, because he was sitting next to Lake Katie. I'm like, touch him. Because he was crying. And then Lake's like, yeah, I can do this. You guys need nieces and nephews. I have nieces and nephews. Well, I have nieces and nephews. Yeah, they're grown up now. Oh, right. Big nieces. That doesn't count because you were a baby when they were... I wasn't. I was in college. When they were born? Well, I don't know when they were born. There you go. So they need more kids in their life. But they're very good with Blake. But Blake had a moment.
And he was just so sad that he couldn't go to the Oceaneer Club. And he was like, but they have all the good activities. And it's true, they do.
I will note, too, is the concern is when he's looking through the app, he's looking at Edge activities, and there's like one or two things.
There's like nothing listed.
And then the kids club is like, slam full, crafts, this and that. Because I don't know, I feel like the Edge is more about meeting people and finding your people
and then doing
and making it happen. Yeah.
But there's also activities, because when we were on, which I hope that they took a picture of it, but I let Dave and Blake go together, so it's very likely that there's no picture. But like on the Wish, there was a whole list of activities for the Edge, and I think there's probably the same, and so there'll be lots of things to do. They just don't put it in the app.
I hope he gives it a try and enjoys it.
And he's going to. He got excited once he came back. The counselors apparently were good, and they made it sound exciting, and Blake loves a good counselor. So, yeah, we'll see what happens from there.
Yeah. But we have dinner at Animators tonight. We are like 5 minutes from our good old-fashioned muster drill. Wah, wah. Yeah. So we're going to go crowd around people for a lot of information that...
No information. Zero information.
I was going to say, we already know.
But not even if you know it. They still give you no information. They just, want you to go to that muster station.
Good to know where to go.
Yeah, sure.
I could go back to the virtual check-in.
So, did I talk about this? I don't think I did. But when we were going to our muster station on the Wish, we usually arrive kind of late. And so, not late, but not early. And so, they were going to shove us in Luna up at the upstairs, and it was really crowded. And I'm like, can I just, stay over here on the outside? And they said yes. And so then Dave and I joked about...
All right.
Really quick. Dave and I joked about how I need to just put the life jacket on and bob in the water, because if I had to go into that lifeboat drill, I would need Valium. So there's our moment.
Assembly station. Please proceed.
All right.
There you go. Bye, guys.
Catch you soon. Yeah, I think that'll work better. All right, so we had dinner at Animator's Palette, which I think was fine.
Fine. Normal.
But highlight of the night was Prima Notte, which we've been hyping up and was hyped up to us, and I'm not going to lie, lived up to the hype.
So I forgot about it and maybe would have said, do I need to go? Everybody has to go. It's delightful. It's amazing. They can handle allergies and preferences. Go. You will not regret it.
It is the combination of everything you love about a wine tasting or basically any tasting that DCL offers, along with sampling of Palo food, all combined and paired together perfectly. It was
perfection.
Phenomenal.
And the service, amazing.
Yeah. And handling Christy's allergies, they were very kind and accommodating at the same time. They were all very sweet about it the whole time. It was just phenomenal service. And of course, you get the sommelier talking about not only the origins of the wines they're serving, but why they pair with what they're serving.
And they pair so well. So the last course was a dessert, and we had a very sweet, weird, fruity wine that maybe on its own none of us liked, but with the dessert it worked so well. Even the gluten-free dessert versus the gluten-containing dessert, it was amazing.
I mean, I even felt like that with some of the reds, because I don't typically like a red wine, but the red wine with the gnocchi I thought was awesome.
My God, the gnocchi. And I had a gluten-free one and the pesto with it, which they can do a nut-free pesto if anybody needs that. Oh, the experience so good. Katie's laughing at us.
I'm not laughing, I'm just standing here smiling. It was, it truly, everything they said is 100% true. Fact check them on this. I thought, too, the size of the total group of people was perfect. You could hear the sommelier most of the time, and everything was really good. It's a great chance to try maybe something new if you're not so adventurous. I tried several new things to me, which were great. And yeah, it it's a pricey experience, but it's definitely worth it, I believe.
So it's $200 without additional gratuity. That includes
it's $85 a person, though.
Yeah, oh yeah,
Plus,
yeah. $200 a couple.
Yeah.
And then they include gratuity, so of 18%. And then we added an extra.
Because it was wonderful. They deserve
the service was so good. It was just so good.
But yeah, that I think about takes us out for the night. We have a day at sea tomorrow with not a whole lot planned, I think.
There's a anyone can cook lobster ravioli at 2:00 that I'm very interested in.
I will not be going to that.
I know, but that is
I'm
something.
glad you are, though.
That is something that's not been offered on any of our shorter cruises, so I'm very excited to try to do that.
And then we are on a wait list for Palo Brunch at Lake's Request, which is totally fine. And then we have so much fun happening the rest of this week.
Yep. Well, that's gonna take us out for this night. We will see you tomorrow, guys.
Bye, everyone.
All right, so it is day 2 of our sailing. We all got up and met for breakfast down in, what's it called?
Royal Court.
Royal Court.
Royal something, anyway.
It's Royal
It's
Court.
Royal
Okay.
Court. Breakfast was good, though.
Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah. Good way to start the day.
I haven't done the sit-down breakfast on the cruise very often. It's really nice.
And it was quick. Like, it wouldn't have been quicker to eat at Cabanas, in my opinion. Well, especially for me, having a special order.
Yeah, well, and there's usually about that time so many people you're juggling and trying to save your seats, and it's
It's just easy to sit down
a little
and
chaotic.
Right.
be served.
Civilized.
Yeah. But what did we do after that?
Went to the pool. You
went to the pool and
You
I
went
went
for
and
a
ran.
run.
Oh, look at you.
Yep.
I went and saw Don Ducky Williams, who is a Disney fine art artist, and he usually does all the lithographs for the specialty cruises that are given. He was so good. I highly recommend if you're on a sailing. Do you want to pause over here? We're just going to pause for a second. Of course, there's never been a person here, and now there's a million. I'll just pause it.
Yeah.
So, oh wait.
Go ahead.
So, if you have an opportunity to see Ducky Williams on a sailing, I highly recommend it. He hand draws pictures at the start of the performance and before, like, not performance, but his talk, and then they auction's not the right
Raffle
word.
them.
Raffle. They raffle them off at the end. So I definitely want to go again, which I think we missed the second one today, didn't we?
I don't think there was
No.
the second one today. He did
it's
the
later.
drawing today,
Yeah.
and then on the next sea day, he's going to do the talk and the drawing again, I saw.
Okay, so yeah, I'm like, we all have to go. We
Yeah.
need more opportunities to win. It was so good. He just talks about getting to work at Disney, which was just so fascinating. Highly worth that, however long I was there.
Yeah, like I said, we went and did Satellite Falls, kind of hung out up in the little waiting pool up there, which was super nice,
Yeah, it was
super
very,
easy.
very nice. There were people there, but it was still very relaxing and
You could always find a spot in the little pool
and
up there.
cool. The water was nice and cool. And, I didn't feel uncomfortably hot at all.
Blake last night came back from, we'll just talk about Blake's experience in the Edge real quick. He came back quite late, I think it was 11, from the Edge, and he just discussed how much he loved it. So that was really cute, and he's already met friends, he said. And then today he slept in, it's like he instantly became a teenager. He slept in till like 11, and maybe 10:45 or something, like really late. And then we all had lunch, and he went back to the Edge and did a scavenger hunt right away. And then they won the scavenger hunt, and he was just like, it was so fun. So he's finding his way. So it's good.
Yeah.
I mean, a good, first positive Edge experience definitely will make it easier.
Lunch on deck was standard.
Chicken tendies.
Yep, classic chicken tenders, exactly what we wanted.
Yep, it's perfect. And then you played Lorcana.
Yeah, Dave and I went down, played Lorcana at the other cafe.
Vista.
Yep. And then Blake met us, and then you and I went and did Anyone Can Cook, which is like a really cool food seminar.
Yeah. So we got the lobster ravioli, and then they did give us like a tasting of wine with it, which was cool.
Yeah.
They had the sommelier just very briefly talk about the wine, and then one of the chefs from Remy did the presentation. It was very cool, and they give you like the recipe so you can take it home and try it.
So you're gonna make it?
Yeah. I don't know how much a pound of lobster is going to cost me, but we're going to try it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, super cool, like super easy. You just kind of sit there and chill and watch and taste the food that they give you.
Yeah. It was nice. Plenty of room. I was worried when the line was out the door, but they were just filtering people in. Because you have to pick up like a fork and wash your hands and all that. So.
Yeah, so now it is just about 3 o'clock in our day. I think we're going to go and...
Oh, yeah, Christy.
Solid, we have to mention this, a solid nap. Like, the most glorious nap out by the pool. The adults-only pool. There was literally, it was like magical. One chair came available. I got there and just got to take a lovely little nap and read a little bit and took a nap. So now I think some of us are going to get ready for a formal night.
Yeah, I need to take a shower, take a nap. I think we might hit up bingo before dinner, but I think it runs right into dinner, so we're gonna like get ready and then go do that.
Yeah, bingo, dinner in Enchanted Garden.
Actually, you know what? Between bingo and dinner is the like formal like reception in the atrium, and you can get a free cocktail.
Yeah, and you can usually get more than one if you ever want.
I probably should just stick to one.
Yeah. Dinner in Enchanted Garden tonight, and then maybe a lounge after.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Might hit up that Meridian happy hour.
Yeah. So we get the gin cart.
Yep, gin cart, 20% off.
All right, let's do it. All right, we are back from dinner in Enchanted Garden. We are hanging out up by Currents right now, second dining, and the show is going on, so it is just like ghost town up here.
Yeah, it's so nice. Literally all the people were on deck 3 when we all left to come here. So it's a little oasis.
Yeah, it's awesome. We're just kind of chilling up here watching the sunset. After we last talked, Katie and I went and did bingo. We are not big bingo winners. We did not like bingo being in the theater.
The Buena Vista Theater.
Yeah. It was just like too hard getting in and out of seats for people because everyone wanted to sit in the ends. But yeah, not big winners there. And then after that, Katie and I went to La Piazza and listened to The Violinist, and that bar is super cool. It's like the carousel-themed bar that is like the hub for the adult area. We sat in one of the little like nooks on the side and just had drinks and listened to The Violinist, and it was super awesome.
And we got cleaned up and went and took pictures with Minnie Mouse in her evening wear, which is like peacock inspired or whatever. It's blue, it's gorgeous. And then we did family pictures, and I don't know that I've ever waited in a family picture line as long as we did today. Like, it was a serious line. They like blocked staircases with them. I mean, it was just a lot of people were downstairs taking pictures. It's, obviously fine. And then they had it where you would go to take one set of pictures and they bounces you right to the second location, which at least that is good. So you waited in such a long line, but
you get them all.
Yeah, you get 2 shots. And on the first one, they had like a assistant who was posing people. So that was nice. So that was it. Dinner was good. Dinner was really good.
Yeah, dinner was really good. I think everyone really enjoyed what they had. Enchanted Garden. I do miss the teacups in there. We were like...
Oh, yeah. Do they have no more of those? Did they get rid of them completely?
No, they're all gone.
I didn't pay attention.
They disappeared after the shutdown. Which gives you a lot more room for seating.
Right.
But they were super cool. I think, too, probably too many people wanted to sit in them, but obviously could not be accommodated.
Right. How do you accommodate everybody?
But yeah, we had like a nice little corner area. A little bit warm by the window, but...
Yeah, at the start of dinner.
All our food was good.
And our service is really good.
Oh, yeah. Freddie, our main server, is awesome. And Nolan, the head waiter, awesome.
Yeah.
All good.
So they've been on it. The orange cake from 1923 on the Wish is here, and it is still naturally gluten-free, so something to keep in mind if that is a dessert you like. I wanted one bite of Katie's. I specifically even said Katie was willing to share, and she had like several bites left. I said, please do not bring me a cake, my own cake, and of course my own cake came.
Shocker.
But really good service.
Yeah, and I think we might just chill, maybe find somewhere to listen to some music if we're not too tired tonight.
Yeah, we love the live music.
Oh, yeah. The lobby live music has been really, really good. So at least the advantage of standing around to get pictures was that we got to listen to that live music, and it has been amazing. Their Soul Sisters is the name of that.
Sister.
Oh, there you go. Sister. Sorry. I have not even looked in the app one time, I don't think, to see what was happening, so I was trying to remember the words everybody said. So yeah, Sister, they're really good. If you have an opportunity to hear them on the Fantasy, I would definitely do it.
But yeah, I think that about wraps us up for today. We've got, Lookout Cay at Lighthouse Point tomorrow. We are very excited. We might not get off right at 8:30 because we think it's going to be a fiesta trying to get off the ship. There is no virtual queue or any of that. And of course, everyone's going to want to get off right away. So we might just chill for a little bit and let the crowds die down.
We have 2 days to experience everything. So chill a little bit.
Yep.
And this probably can't go up till tomorrow because we're out of internet for the night, apparently. So we will post this. You'll get it in the morning, hopefully.
Yep.
And then we'll try to do another update. If you are listening to this tomorrow, we are hopeful that our cellular will work for us to be able to do a live from the island. So we're going to try that.
We should go live, and we'll have plenty of stories on the Instagram and all that fun stuff.
Yep. Okay.
We will see y'all tomorrow.
Bye.
All right, so we are back from the big one, our first day at Lookout Cay at Lighthouse Point. Too many words there. But overall, I think
Cay, probably.
Oh, did I say Lookout Cay?
Yeah.
Oh, well.
It's so hard.
It is so hard. But I would say overall, very positive.
Yeah.
I would say a couple, like, what is the word I'm looking for here? Like, there are some things they can improve that are, like, operational that I think they will just learn.
1,000,000%. You know, I was thinking about it. For anytime they launch a ship, or anytime they launch something, they practice. It appears that there was zero practice, at all. And that was probably a flaw. They should have figured out a way to practice. But it's fine. I think I will be a broken record about this. That water and beach.
Stunning.
Stunning. Just absolutely stunning. And if you have a cruise going to Lookout Cay, you have to go in the ocean, in my opinion, in the water, because it is just some of the best relaxing, beautiful, gorgeous swim that, like, I've personally ever experienced. And that sand is just so soft.
Probably one of the nicest beaches you will ever go to.
Yes.
It is beautiful. But we will backtrack a little bit, getting off the ship, the walkway. First off, I will say I don't think it looks nearly as intimidating as in pictures. I think when people are posting, big wide angles of the walkway and everything, it looks a lot longer than it is. It still was about half a mile. That was pretty accurate getting to the tram station. I
think we did clock it, though, but back all the way to the tram station was 0.6.
Yep, just about.
Basically exact. For us, honestly, we're usually team walk, right? To Castaway. there will be people that this walk will be a challenge for. And Disney is going to keep utilizing the golf carts, which you can request from guest services in advance. And I would just say, if you need the golf cart, do that. It's totally fine. There's no shame in that. And then I would definitely, if you have younger kids, bring a stroller or a wagon. People are allowing wagons, even for people without kids.
They had wagons.
Oh, that you can borrow.
Yes. They're like little red plastic wagons, like the little Tykes wagons, but they had some there at both the end of the pier, and then you could see where people were leaving them by the tram.
Nice. Did you see wheelchairs too? I forgot to look.
Don't recall seeing any, but we can look again on Thursday. I will say, I think there was about 3 of the big long golf carts running people back and forth though. So it didn't seem like people had to wait. In fact, they probably made it to the end of the pier quicker than walking.
Oh, they would have.
Yeah.
Because the golf cart's going to go faster than whatever people could walk.
Yeah, I would say after that, we did have a little bit of a snafu with the trams. Again, just one of those learning things. They just did not have it lined up where the tram should be stopping. So you would be waiting based on where the last tram was, and then the next tram would pull up 20 feet further, and there wouldn't be a car in front of you.
Right. Or 20 feet back.
Yeah.
Whatever it was they didn't have that worked out. But even so I think they're trying to work on it, because even at the end by the time we got into a tram, they had already said, I am going to stop the next car at this spot, because they could see that we were all shifting back and forth and not being lined up for a tram when we were just trying to.
Yeah. And again, this was, I don't think we really hit on it. This was our staff from this ship's first time on the island as well.
Yes.
Again, no training or anything. Basically just, hey, this is where you guys are going. This is what you're doing. Good luck.
And for me, I will say about the tram, and then we can move on. It is not my favorite. I feel claustrophobic in environments like that. I try to avoid the tram at Walt Disney World. It's something about being trapped in a space. But it is how you get there right now. So it is the means to get to the island. And the whole tram process does take a while to load. So just keep all of that in mind. It is a process. I used, we had those neck cooling fans or neck fans, and I would say maybe get something like that for your family, because you just sort of sit there and bake while they're loading them up, which takes a while.
I have your kind attention, please.
Yeah, so right now, the tram is the only way to get to the main part of the island. The only thing that is at the tram station at the end of the walkway is a little shop, a restroom, and there is the area where if you have some sort of boat-based land excursion, you're going to meet there. And the family cabanas are there as well, but other than that, there is nothing there. And from here, from there though, I do think you kind of hit another negative of going on the tram to the main area. You realize that there are some sections that are not done. Mm-hmm. First off, the tram path is not fully paved, and there is a lot of dirt on the tram path, which kicks up a lot of dust. So you were getting dust and dirt all over yourself, your phone.
Yeah, my phone, especially on the way back, was covered in road dust.
Yeah, it's all over. And you're going past where there should be a walking and bike path, the nature path, and whatever the other bike path is. None of that is done. You can see some sections where it's cleared, but there are signs that say, hey, this section is closed. So there are no bike rentals currently. So that is not an alternative option. And as we said before, you cannot walk. It is pretty far regardless. I don't know that there's a situation here where you really ever want to walk, especially if you have kids.
Right. Maybe if you were just going to use it as part of your running, but who knows when that'll be an option.
So brings us to, there is no 5K. I imagine once this stuff gets finished, there will be, because it looks like it'll be pretty expansive when it is done. But I don't know when that's going to be. I would love to find out, but it seems like it'll be a while.
I will be back on the island over Labor Day weekend, so I'll be able to obviously see what updates have occurred then.
Yep, but then once we get to the main section, this is laid out a little bit different from Castaway, where everything is basically a big straight line going down the beach. And what's kind of cool about this, though, is the beach does extend beyond both boundaries, and they don't prohibit you from leaving the area. There's basically signs to just say, hey, this is the end of the Disney section, like, proceed at your own risk type of deal. Christy and I walked the entire section. We started at one end and went down. We will say, when you get off, you have all the shopping and everything right there. All of the main things are there. What? Oh. All right, so Crew Drill has brought us all over the place, trying to find a spot to record. But when you first get off the island, all of your main stuff is there. Most people pretty much go straight to the beach right there. It is the family section of the beach. It is pretty crowded there. We were able to find a seat still. There are 2 different levels of stairs. Or 2 different levels of seating. There's like an upper beach level and lower on the beach. But if you get off the tram and go all the way to the right, it's actually where the kids club section is and the play pavilion. But it has a bar. It's past True Truth's barbecue. So everything you need is right there. Mm-hmm. But there was no one over on that section.
No, so when we got there 11:30, it was empty. So highly recommend going there. Obviously, as people start listening to stuff like this, they'll know, but it's still, even later in the day when it got more crowded, it still wasn't that bad.
No, there were always plenty of seats there. Yeah, and again, that's another section where the beach kind of ends, so like there's also more room for people to go down where additional people are never going to fill up.
That area is not monitored by lifeguards, so I would just keep that in mind if you had families. Also, there aren't lifeguards in the water, obviously because of the reefs like there are at Castaway. So, there's just more child watching that you have to do if you have children here.
Yeah, definitely. Even like the snorkeling is basically just, here's your stuff, go out and enjoy. Yep. It's, again, not monitored, it's not curated, there's not additional lifeguards out there. It is kind of snorkel at your comfort level, yep. I would say. Go ahead.
Yeah, no. Let's start from all the way to the right, and we'll move down.
Yeah, so we walked basically from one end to the other. Like we said, on that right-hand side, once you get off the trams, that's where all of the kids' activities are. You've got the splash pads. Moving towards the center, you had the, all-ages splash pad.
Yeah, so the first splash pad, that would be all the way to the right. That's what I also thought. They removed people that were on death row. Let them move through the hall. The splash pad that was all the way to the right is the Oceaneer Club splash pad, and that one has secured programming, but there are open house times, so if you wanted to see that, it is a much smaller footprint, and maybe for smaller kids. I don't know if that's accurate, but it was just smaller in general. And then the main splash pad that adults can take their kids to is in the middle, basically right near when you get off of the tram.
Yeah, and the Oceaneers splash pad does serve lunch. They have a section and times. I believe we posted it in one of our stories, but they do have a lunch area. It is right next to Church and Barbecue.
That would be good too if parents were doing excursions or something. But you'll just have to ask them how all that'll work. Yep.
And then, again, once you get towards the center, you have the shopping, you have the kind of general shopping, and then you have the, Treasures of Eleuthera?
Right, which would be your straw market type of shopping.
Yep, and it's kind of like straw market with Disney influence. They have character branded stuff, but they were there working on the bags and that sort of thing.
Yeah, it was super cool.
Yep, and as you move further past that, you'll hit True 2. We will note, which we'll come back to, this is the busiest of the food venues for sure. This is the one that's kind of most central. Really not too much, though, between that and Serenity then.
Right, Serenity was just like, bam, right there.
Yeah, Serenity basically starts. You'll see the cabanas are the first thing you hit at Serenity, and there's just...
May I have your kind attention, please? The signal...
So yeah, Serenity basically just starts. As we said, it is one long beach. So there's really nothing that like isolates you from the family beaches, but I really don't think people are like venturing over into that section. There are like some little signs that say, hey, this is the adults only section essentially. And then once you walk towards the end of that, they do have Serenity Bay Barbecue as well. It is a little bit of a nicer setup than Castaway. Castaway really feels like kind of a picnic.
The Serenity?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they had live music going on there, which was pretty cool as well. Every section, there is a bar and a bathroom no more than 50 yards from you, no matter where you are, which is great.
Yep.
All the menus, though, are the same. There's really nothing different about them. They're all pretty much the same building. They all also have, like, wash stations as well.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. So you can wash the sand off of you.
And then once you get to the end of Serenity, again, they have another sign that says, hey, this is the end of Disney. So yeah, once you get to the end there, you have another one of those signs that says this is the end of Disney property, but you can like venture out. People had their towels and stuff laid out there. There's not. So you can pretty much venture out there and walk and swim, but again, it will not be monitored. It is at your own risk, essentially. Do you want to move into lunch?
Yeah.
So we ate at True 2, which we said was the central one. We went to this one because this was where they told Christy she had to go for her allergy-friendly menu.
Yeah, well, yeah, for the window basically for them to feed me.
Yeah. Yep.
So when we were doing our tour, Lake and I were approaching Serenity Bay and then coming back and going, well, these chairs are almost all taken already.
This is like 11 o'clock-ish.
Yeah, so maybe it was like 11:15 by the time we like worked our way back, and I was like, I'm gonna try to find a table, and Lake went off to get our people because the writing was on the wall that there wasn't gonna be any tables. And there was 5 of us, so it's not like we could just jam in anywhere because there's so many of us. So I did find one couple that let us sit with them that was already sitting at a table. And Lake went and got everybody. I went to place my order, like to tell them that I was there for my allergy order. And that process took, I want to say 20 minutes.
It was long.
Because then you guys were waiting. Of course, I knew where our table was, but nobody else knew where our table was. And our really sweet couple from Utah, like, said they'd be willing to hold the table. And so, like, I left everybody for so long. I felt so bad. I knew everybody was waiting, but I didn't have a way, like, because then I'd be back at the end of the allergy line. So it was like I didn't have a way to leave where I was, but to tell everybody what was happening. And the cute couple said that they had to deny like 4 or 5 people from sharing or asking to sit at their table. And they were like, no, this lady is coming back. So it was really funny. Everybody agreed that the lunch was really good.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know that the quality was any better than Castaway. Very similar menu, but everything was very good. We really enjoyed everything we had.
Yeah, I had a hamburger, and I think that was way better than anything I would have had at Castaway. It was delicious.
Yeah, the setup is a little bit different, where there's different windows for, like, basically different protein options.
Which is tough. And
yeah.
I knew, I looked at this when David was doing his post, and hold on a minute.
These other people were sitting here.
Somebody was recording, so I was like, I can't record upon a recording. Yeah, so when David was giving us the thoughts on the island, I looked at those windows and I was like, this is going to be a disaster for families. And it kind of was a disaster for families.
Yeah, it is a little bit difficult because it is a line for each window. So if someone wants chicken and someone wants burgers, you're going in a different line. And some of those lines were pretty long. I think Blake and I waited probably 15, 20 minutes for our food.
Oh, at least. So, and then there's pagers for the allergies. But I feel like already when I went back to get my food, the pagers don't reach the pavilions. So, but when I even went back to get my food, I think he already said that was going to change. So, because I guess my pager had been going off for a long time and I didn't know it. Whatever. But food was good.
Food was good. Another note is when we were there, the ice cream machines were not set up at True True 2. They were set up at True True. They were being installed, I think, in the morning of our sailing. So we'll see. They might be up and going by the time we get to our second sailing. But there were things still being put onto the island, essentially.
And True is where the characters meet also. And every time I would walk by there was like hardly ever a line for the characters. Maybe because it was just sort of further off to the side and people hadn't realized that that's where it was at. So, yeah, like it was easier to get character photos than I thought it would be.
Yeah, honestly, I think that was fine. I think honestly, after that kind of ends the cons. I think everything else we have is a positive. Once we finished, we had relocated ourselves all the way to the very end of the beach. We had sat at the bar for a while, had a couple drinks, and basically chilled in the water. Blake and Dave spent like an hour and a half at least in the water.
Yeah.
Because I fell asleep on one of the chairs for a while, and they were still playing.
Oh yeah, I took a picture of you. Posted that.
That's fine. I mean, it is beautiful. The water is crystal clear and like this beautiful blue. And there was fish swimming. We saw a shark.
We did see a shark.
Which there's a sign that says, hey, this is the ocean. You're gonna see, animals and fish.
Things from the ocean.
Yep. So we did see a shark right by us. That was cool though.
Yeah. It did turn at us. I feel like that was a little less cool shark.
It was fine.
Just go straight. But then it turned back away.
It was fine. Yeah, we hung out over in that section for the rest of the day. It probably was like, we pretty much hung out over there until 3:30 or so. Blake and Dave did go and play in the splash pad a little bit more, Well, I think Christy and I both went and did a little bit of shopping. The shopping section was a madhouse, like, pretty much all day. We went, like, right at the end. There was some stuff, I think, sold out, but also they had the back room open, and they were, like, actively refilling things.
And trying to find sizes and stuff like that.
Yeah, so I wouldn't be surprised if when we get on the island again on Thursday, they're, like, locked and loaded.
Yeah. The middle of the day, I was going, it must have been right after lunch, and I was coming back to the beach to meet you guys. I went into the store, and it wasn't so bad then, so that might be a good time to go if you were looking to buy something. I did go to first aid because I had gotten a rub spot on my foot from wearing my heels the day before, and then that rub spot was like getting rubbed with the sand and with the sandals. Foot, yeah. So the person working, like the nurse assistant or whatever she was, that helped with the Band-Aid for my foot from the rub spot, she is a local and was happy that the island, or that the, destination, Disney's beach destination was there, and that she was so excited about seeing the characters. So she said she missed them the first day when the magic was there, and she was just like absolutely looking forward to seeing them. So I actually showed her the times in the app when characters would be out, and then when the Junkaroo, which we should talk about briefly as well, was occurring. And I saw her later, and she had gotten to see them, and she absolutely loved it. But the first date is quite nice. So if there are things you need, they have stuff like that. They have all the stuff there, so you can definitely utilize them if you need to. All the way to the back. Yeah. So I think let's talk about Junkaroo for a minute. It's like Rush Junkaroo, a celebration, something like that is the name. And that occurred twice a day on the island, and they come up through like the main center part and then go to the Goomba
Control Center.
Yeah. And I might be saying that wrong. Goomboo or Goomba. There you go. It reminds me I told the guys because Katie and I saw it. It reminds me of the New Orleans parade in the street with all the live music / Vegas showgirls, but
more appropriate,
more age appropriate. I just don't know how else to describe it, but it was so good though, and I can't wait to watch it again. So we saw it from near the store, and that's the reel I posted, or will post, whatever. But now on Thursday, we're going to actually go watch it, hopefully from the beach, because I think you'll get, once they're in the cultural center, because I think they'll do more there versus just like the parade line. Oh, it was so good. It's like, it was enjoyable to watch, and I definitely think it's worth going up to see.
Yeah, and it includes the characters and everything too, and their outfits. Mm-hmm. So you get a little bit of everything out of that. You get the cultural experience.
Yeah, so, really good?
Yeah. But
walk back to the tram back, fine. The walk back, fine.
Easy.
It was nicer because, the clouds had come in and the breeze was kicking up a little bit more, so it wasn't quite so hot.
Yeah, overall really good. Definitely a different experience from Castaway.
Definitely.
Castaway feels a little bit more curated, and there is definitely more to do because you have like the boat rentals. You do have some more excursions on Lookout, and you can experience a little more of the island. We've heard kind of some mixed things about the different excursions available, though. Some people positive, some people negative, some people with that saying they have some learning to do type of deal. But overall, though, like, island situation is beautiful. The buildings are all really neat, really unique and beautiful. But it does feel a little bit more like a beach day than like a Castaway private island day.
Yeah.
All right, it is the end of our third day. We had dinner in Royal Court.
It was delicious.
It was a very good dinner.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was great. We got back on the ship, and like Katie and I we showered and napped pretty much until dinner, grabbed some coffee right before. We had some Prosecco at dinner, which is fun. I think that was your platinum gift, right?
That was good.
Yeah. And I think Blake, he ate quick and headed right up to the edge. He was excited to do whatever they had going on. And it sounded like he did a lot of like exploring the ship with his friend.
Yeah, so he met another kid and they were walking around. He would text us, okay, I'm going to leave and go do this. Okay, I'm going to do this. Okay, can I have French fries? We're like, yeah, honey, you can have whatever you want to eat.
And yeah, after dinner, we sat around the lobby. We listened to, is it Sister Sister?
Yeah.
Is the act?
I think so. They're amazing. They're my favorite.
And we listened to them
for... is so good.
Probably about 30 minutes or so, and then we went down to Ooh La La, which was Katie and I's first time in that lounge, and we listened to the violinist for like an hour at first, and then she had sets in there all night, so we actually came back and listened to her again. And after that, I think it was bedtime for everyone.
Yep. Blake actually was like, where are you guys? Can I meet up? And so I said, do you want to go shopping? So he and I walked through the stores. That was really nice. There wasn't anything at this point that we were interested in, but it's nice to hang out with him a little bit.
Yeah.
a note. So at dinner, they got my Lighthouse Point order for the 2 nights from then, and they said that actually they wanted to know where I was going to eat lunch at Lighthouse Point the second time, because they really did determine that it just didn't work to send everybody to True 2, so that they would bring the trays or they would make them in the different areas. I'm not sure what they're going to do, but I said that we will be in a cabana, and so they got that information, and we'll see how it goes. But so they're already making some changes, which, and I don't know, did we talk about this on the way to the island? They had cooling towels halfway through. So it's like, even that is like a change that wasn't there the first day they were at the island. They were like, yes, it's hot and people are walking, so let's give them a cooling towel. So I don't know, stuff like that.
Yeah, I think a lot of things that, give them a couple months will be ironed out, make it a little more accessible. For sure. Again, I think the big miss for us was the bike path and stuff not being finished. That's like really like me and Katie's big thing, is riding the bikes, exploring the island like that.
Right.
So it was a little bit of, it was a miss for us.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that it wasn't really like advertised, like they're advertising like, oh, the island's open, we're ready, this and that.
Yeah, just
and
tell us, be up front about what's not available.
Actually,
and there's no rafts.
Yep, no rafts.
Because I think somebody had posted that, and I don't know if this is true or not, but that they can't figure out how to keep the rafts from floating out to sea.
It's probably true.
But so is there never going to be rafts? I will say it's quite salty, so it was very buoyant.
Overall, though, still a great day.
Yeah. I'm really excited about returning and getting back in the water.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. A little bit of a different experience because we will have a cabana. Interested to see what that's going to be like, being so separated from the rest of the island, though.
Yeah, for me, it'll be our second day, just to do sort of nothing. I'm not sad about that.
No, not that at all, for sure. But I think that is going to take us out of this day. We will see you all tomorrow.
Bye.
All right, so it is actually day 4. We did not record anything during our Nassau day, so we're going to kind of backtrack a little bit, talk about that day. Honestly, a pretty chill day overall, not a whole lot to talk about.
Right.
Christy started the day with a run.
Yeah, so usually on Nassau Day they do drills, which we actually recorded the day before, after, while they were doing drills, and you'll note that we got interrupted 700 times because they were doing drills. So I actually, for like the first time ever maybe, got my run in before the drills, because I was meeting Lake and Katie for breakfast, so I like needed to get out and try to get, and I was still late for breakfast, but it was fine. But I don't think I like ever in the history of all cruise lines and all cruises ever finished a run before drill. So none of the road was, or the path was closed off, because they have to close it off to like launch lifeboats and things like that. And I did ask one of the officers that was like getting people set up, and I said, what time is the path going to close? They must go to local time, because he was like 10 a.m. or whatever, and it was really at 9 that it was going to close and that the drill was going to start. So just sort of keep that in mind. But you had a good 4-mile run. It was good.
Good. We did not run this day, but we met Christy at Royal Court for sit-down breakfast, which was awesome. It was super busy, though. Even towards the end of it, like, they told us it would be like a 15-minute wait. It was only like 5, which was great. But food and meal and everything was excellent. Yeah, my breakfast was really good as well. And I just texted Lake and Katie to say this is what I would like, and they could order it for me for my allergy, because I needed to like finish running and cool down a little bit and stuff like that. And so, but I don't know that I've like ever seen sit down breakfast that crowded. It was really like, it wasn't a problem that it was crowded. It was just really crowded. Which is crazy, because you would think maybe it's busy because people are like getting ready for port excursions in Nassau, but the ship was full all day. Oh yeah. And that's not uncommon for Disney Cruise Line.
Yeah, I don't think very many people got off the ship in Nassau at all. Especially because you got to remember, we're having all of these beach days in the Bahamas. Like, you want more time potentially on this ship, not less.
And beach days where a lot of things are included.
Right.
Where you don't have to pay to go somewhere or pay to do some sort of activity, essentially. Yep. But after that, Katie and I had beer tasting a little bit after. That was a new tasting for us. And that was quite enjoyable. I don't know that I would necessarily need to do it again. I don't know that the information was like all super new and insightful. The beer and everything was good. I think you got 6 different ones. And they're about like half glass pours. It was enjoyable for sure. Just probably a one and done for us.
Yeah, and I went to Satellite Falls during that time and tried to take a nap and maybe dozed slightly. So it was nice. It was a nice little relaxing time. I think actually Blake and Dave were still sort of hanging in the cabin. And then after, like, what would have been your beer tasting and around lunchtime, Dave and Blake went to the quick service to get lunch. And then I met up with them and ate like a quarter of a chicken tender meal. You came and ate a little bit of food too.
Yeah, I came and sat. I was actually trying to take a nap and finish our laundry. We did do laundry on board. It was about halfway through. We're like, it'd be convenient to do it on this day. But our room steward was taking care of our room during that time. So I went and hung out with Christy and her family during lunch. It was very hot, though, outside. It was hot and humid. I was so ready to get into the cool room. And I didn't even mention at the beginning, this was the morning that I woke up to do my, like, ship tour. Oh, yeah. Where I do the pictures and videos. So I was up at, like, 4:30 in the morning. So at, like, what was it, noon or something, 12:30? No, it was later. It was, like, 1 o'clock already. Yeah. I was real ready for a rest. And then I passed out after that, once the room was ready.
Yeah, we were all going to meet to see the second showing or whatever of Don Ducky Williams, the Disney artist, his like talk about how he got into Disney, and I did go with Dave. Lake and Katie stayed asleep or reading and all the things. But even the second time of that show was fascinating. And like the first time he gave away like 27 pictures or 24. The second time he gave 24 like hand-drawn pictures, which to me, it's worth it to just try to win one of those. But also just his story was so good. So Dave really enjoyed it. And then I think at that point, Dave and I went back to our cabin and like read and rested. Oh, I had showered before then because I was quite disgusting by that point. But we read for a while and showered and just did stuff like that for the afternoon.
Yeah, I think Katie and I got ready for Palo and we went to Cove, I believe. Hung out there for a while, drank some coffee, and then we went in Meridian until it was time for our Palo dinner. Yep. Palo dinner was a little bit of a miss. Unfortunately.
Poor sadness over our Palo dinner.
Yes. So this is obviously a very popular cruise amongst repeat cruisers. Lots of platinum people who wanted to take advantage of their included Palo meals. And they overbooked Palo. And I think this is the case for probably many days.
Yeah, and we had actually gotten a message during the day that said our Palo reservation was being pushed from 6 to 6:30. And then at one point I had left Palo to go to the restroom or something, and somebody was like, "But Ma, you already pushed my reservation, and now we're already like 20 minutes past that time." And he's like, "I'm sorry, we don't have a table or something. We're going to seat you as soon as possible." But they were overbooked.
Yes, our server was pretty upset about it. She was definitely handling more tables than they usually would. It was not a normal Palo experience. And even our server, like, felt bad about it. Like, she seemed visibly upset for a good majority of our time there. It was long time between entrees.
Very long.
Yeah, it was
like it was an tough. Over a 3-hour meal, but it wasn't because of our doing. Like, we all knew pretty quick. We weren't a huge party. We all knew pretty quick what we wanted to order. just, and again, it wasn't our server. She was just having to deal with other tables. And my allergy bread actually came out like an hour or something and a half later. Like everybody sort of forgot. And she did say that. And then my meal, actually, they just didn't even have their meals timed right. Mine came out straight up cold.
I tried it. Yeah, it was unfortunate.
Yeah.
Katie and I's meal was actually phenomenal, though. I'd ordered the ossobuco, and Katie had ordered the grilled mushrooms. Both new items to us. They were awesome.
The ossobuco, we were able, when we ordered it, to ask, like, is there a change if this meal is gluten-free? She said it's actually naturally gluten-free, but we still ordered it for me to be able to have a bite, like, as an allergy or whatever. And, oh my gosh, the risotto and the meat they were delicious. Like, I would definitely consider getting that one day.
Yes. So, not all bad with Palo, just not the usual upscale service that you kind of expect with it.
Well, and even complete dining experience. Like, but my appetizer was really good. My dessert was really good. So, we thought that sommelier did a great job pairing wine for Katie and I. So...
yeah, it was just, I think, a tough day for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
But after that actually, I think, takes us both out for the evening.
Yes, it was just kind of late. And so, yeah, we just all, I think at one point we were all going to go listen to music, and that just didn't happen. Oh, Blake was having a bit of a hard night. And so just, I think he just wanted to be around us. So, yeah, so we just went back to the cabin.
Yep, us as well. But that brings us into our Castaway Day.
Yay!
And this was exciting because we had a cabana, and that was Katie and I's first experience with a cabana.
What'd you think?
Decent.
Yeah, it's tough because the weather was tough today.
It was.
Like, it was the one of the windiest days I've ever experienced at Castaway. It wasn't hot, which wasn't necessarily a bad thing. But also, it takes, like, you're not sitting in the water as much and doing all those things.
Yeah, it's definitely nice to have, like, a covered home base, though, with the fan and everything. The loungers and everything in the cabana are amazing. Having cold water and cold towels there was awesome, especially since we went to the cabana first and then went and did our runs, ran around the islands, which was awesome. Love the ability to just do my little tour and run. But yeah, weather was not super great today, which is unfortunate because the ship was actually, all aboard time was 6 p.m., which is super late for Castaway. But I think Katie and I ended up heading back like around 2.
Yeah, you were the earliest. We stayed longer, but then a storm was going to come in. So we did end up coming back maybe at 3.
Yeah, it really wasn't too much later because even as we were walking back, it was starting to rain. And it looked like that rain was pretty much steady the rest of the evening because as we were in the room getting ready, we were on the side where people come back to the ship. And it was a pretty steady stream of people, you know, from that 3 to 4 time.
So, and then this day we had martini tasting.
We did, which was a new to all of us experience. I am not a huge martini person. Katie is the one who's really into like gins and that sort of experience, so she was very excited. I will say it was pretty cool. I'm glad we did it. Yeah. Katie really enjoyed it. I think we all enjoyed it.
Very much. There was this random, I think the one that I went back to the concierge lounge and was talking to some other people there about and to Dave about was the like peanut butter and jelly one, which wasn't.
It was obviously a hazelnut and jelly martini, and it was awesome.
Literally drinking peanut butter and jelly. Like somebody joked that it was like an Uncrustable, and like when in life am I ever going to have an Uncrustable martini? Yeah. Never one time. I don't think I need to do that one again.
I don't think I would do that one again, but I
enjoyed it.
I did enjoy it too, and it accomplishes what it's kind of set out to do because you start with a straight up standard martini and then it slowly gets a little more adventurous, a little more flavorful. You experience some like sweet and savory ones. So it definitely lets you find what kind of martini you may or may not like, which is cool. But martinis are very alcohol-y drinks, so it is definitely it's a hard one.
Yeah. So I think, glad we did it. I don't need to do it again, but really happy that we did it.
Yeah, not going to get you quite the experience of like the mixology, where I think mixology is all really well blended, typically more sweet. This gets you a little bit more of a diverse area, even though it's all martinis.
And he like goes through sort of the development of martinis. So like from the history standpoint, there were people that had done a lot of tastings, like even a lot of martini tastings and a lot of gin tastings. I don't know, to me, that it had the repeatability. Like, we're going to go to champagne tasting later in the week, and we've all done it. And I feel like that one does have, like, just a higher repeat.
I think it would depend.
Yeah, on what you like.
Yes,
and we
exactly.
would rather, most of us would rather drink more champagne maybe than martinis as a general rule, plus hear about it. I don't know. But for us,
it would be interesting because it sounds like even he made a change to one of the recipes, like kind of on the fly due to a different allergy.
Although he put it in there still.
No, he switched it to something else.
But the Frangelica was the one we were always supposed to have for the peanut butter and jelly.
Oh, because of the hazelnut.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
So he did ask, but he would have switched it on the fly. And the only reason I know that was what he was going to put in it is because I had to approve what I could drink for celiac ahead of time. So true.
But yeah,
it was good.
You probably do, depending on who the server is that's running it, get different styles of drinks.
For sure. Yeah, because they're creating it.
Yep. That was really good though. I'm trying to think after that. Oh, I guess it was almost dinner time. Katie and I actually ran up and we grabbed 2 slices of pizza quick just because it is quite a bit of alcohol. And we had like 45 minutes until dinner. We figured, well, by the time we sit down and actually order and everything, it'll be like an hour. So we did that real quick and then pretty much went right down to dinner.
And then I went actually into the concierge lounge and ordered another martini. But I didn't drink 2 of them. So I feel like that was where it was acceptable for me. And for me, because I had the opportunity to go to the lounge, I wasn't going to drink something I wasn't interested in. So I didn't feel like I had to, so I just had an espresso martini, which is absolutely delicious. The perfect way to get me to have enough calories to sort of stay awake. Not calories, caffeine.
There you go.
To make it through the night.
After that, we had dinner in Enchanted Garden. Another good menu, I thought. This is where we were hitting the new to Katie and I menus, which is exciting. I had the turkey dinner. I had some sort of... Well, we both had the pancetta salad. And then I had the shrimp and, like, rice bowl was one of my appetizers. All of it was pretty solid. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Dave had ordered us the steak dish, and did you say strip steaks?
It was a New York strip.
Okay. And it had like a layered potato, almost like an au gratin, but layered with truffle and something else in it. Oh my God, those potatoes were amazing. So he got that, and he's like, this meal was marked gluten-free. And I was like, I need those potatoes. So I actually ordered some and to go with my turkey dinner.
Yeah, everything.
But it was good. Those potatoes were really, really good.
All the potatoes.
Yeah.
We had lots of potatoes in this menu.
Right, because you had sweet potatoes, which would have come with mine. I ended up swapping mine out for mashed, which I gave you a bit of to try. And yeah, all the potatoes were good. Yeah,
overall, pretty good meal. We were all very full, though. Neither of us ordered dessert. Katie didn't order dessert. Only your son and Dave ordered dessert.
Yep. I did have a bite of Blake's Mickey bar, though.
Yeah, and we came out of that, and they were doing like a dance party in the lobby, which I hadn't seen. I'm sure it happens.
Yeah.
But we just hadn't come across it. But they had like a ton of characters up on the balcony, like dancing and all this cool stuff.
And like DJ music.
Yep.
Like they were doing what is that slide where you like stomp 3 times?
The cha-cha or electric
cha-cha
slide.
Yeah. So that was good. But before we came out to do that, we actually talked to our server for a while. And we don't have to talk about what we talked about. But that was really nice.
Yes. We love our server. His name was Freddie.
Oh my God.
And our head server too.
Nolan.
Is awesome. Yeah.
So I had actually reached out to my like favorite head server because usually he's on this ship. And I was like, oh, are you going to be on? Are you on vacation? You know, and then he said, no, I'm on vacation. I said, okay, who do I want as a, server or head server? He's like, you have to get Nolan. So, okay. So I requested Nolan as my head server. He's been really good. But then they assigned us in his section, Freddie from Columbia. Freddie has been amazing.
Freddie is constantly just on his game. I think even like in general with us and with your stuff, it feels like just no missteps. 0
misses. He is top 5 of all servers of DCL for me.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Like, and just the talk after was so nice. Like, you just want to like take him home and let him like serve him dinner. Like, just like such a really sweet, nice guy.
Yeah, we really, really like Freddie.
And Freddie said that he enjoys the longer cruises because he can get to know people, which is kind of fun.
Which checks out. I think a lot of the servers prefer the longer cruises.
Especially
he also said he's moving to the Treasure.
Yes, so he will be on the Treasure, the opening team. He did say unless they move him again, which appears to be something that can just happen right now.
Yep, I think talked about that it might have been the Patreon, one of the Patreon groups, but the staff gets less choice in where they're going when they re-up their contracts now. So now they said they're kind of just sent to whatever ship needs them.
Yep. And they don't have too much of a say over that.
But I think that about catches us up with the day. We have our second Lookout Cay day tomorrow. We are in a cabana, which we have heard nothing but really great things about.
Yeah.
They're supposed to be absolutely beautiful. Looking forward to talking to you all then. We'll probably try to do a live or something tomorrow to kind of show you around that. And I think tonight we're going to go do some lounging and music. I think our plan is to go back to Skyline, which is where our martini tasting was, because they didn't have like the music and everything going during that. But we would love to sit there and watch a couple of the transitions and then find some music in one of the other lounges.
Yep. I am reading a really good book, so I may abandon going to lounges and actually read my book because it's so good and I have to find out who did it.
That is a-okay. That is why cruising is amazing, because it is choose your adventure.
Yep.
All right. We will see y'all tomorrow.
Bye, everyone. Hello.
Hello. It is sadly our last day aboard the Fantasy. It's a sea day, though. What a great way to end it.
Yeah. Really love when the cruise can end on a sea day.
Gives you a little bit of time to relax and get your things together rather than spending a day at a port. Like when your last day is Castaway.
You're there all day and then you have to get back and shower. You have to get to dinner. And if you're going to go to a show, it's like, okay, when do you start packing?
Yeah, so awesome way to end a sailing. Still sad it's over. It's crazy to me that I was like, oh yeah, 7 days on the Fantasy. We're going to get to do all these things that we never get to do. And there's still a ton of things that we didn't get to do. Like, they just pack so much more into it.
Right.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
But we are going to backtrack a little bit because we're going to talk about our second Lookout Cay day. And this was a fun one because we were in a cabana, which gives you a very different experience than the other side of Lookout Cay, I think.
And the cabana gives you the experience, and we made it that experience as well. So we got going pretty early. I mean, I wouldn't say pretty early. We were late compared to others, but maybe around 9 o'clock or whatever, we started rolling off the ship. And we did the walk down the pier. They've already added water station, and then they have the cooling towels again in the middle of the walk. So they are looking to make additions every time. They also have wagons out. So like if you have a bunch of stuff to take or you need that assistance, you could put the children in wagons if you have children with you or if you just have stuff. So they had quite a few wagons at the pier.
I will say it seemed like some people said maybe once they got off later and all the wagons ended up at the end on the tram stop, there wasn't really anyone bringing them back unless you were a family bringing them back.
Right.
So I would maybe not 100% count on that because I think they only have so many and they're not actively running it back when they're also trying to run supplies and run people.
Right. Yeah. So you will want to try to get there early if you want a wagon.
I will note, we got off a little bit earlier than I think we did the first day, but really no like line to get off. All 3 parts of the ship were open to get off. We walked right off. I don't know what side you guys came out of.
We came out of the forward, which was where we were near, and we had no issues. Our issue was just trying to leave our cabin. We still, because I know you guys waited a minute. I don't know, there was something, we still couldn't get our act together to get out the door, but...
Oh, we were in no rush to get up and going.
Yeah.
But we got to our cabana, and they are beautiful.
Oh my gosh. They're so lovely. Even, like, the sign is pretty. Like, there's... And above the door, they have, like, etched wood. And it really is... Yeah, they're stunning.
Yes, in general, very similar layout to the Castaway ones. You know, you walk in, you've got your storage on the right, along with a countertop. You've got kind of some loungy seating on the inside, your dual loungers outside, but then you do get like a full dining room table outside, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. So seating at the table for 4, so basic round 4-top, but there were 2 additional chairs right off to the side, so 6 can easily sit at the table and eat their lunch rather. Guess you can't eat dinner. And then we were in Cabana 6, and basically just behind the cabana was the bathroom and the bar, or a bathroom and a bar, because there were more bathrooms and bars over by the dining area. And there is a dining area in this section of Lookout Cay. So if you are dining here, you do not have to go, or if you are getting a cabana, you don't have to go all the way to true.
The other side of the island,
Yes.
Basically.
I can't say it.
Which was a concern because that would be like a 20 to 30 minute ordeal to get to the other side.
Yeah, so, right? In the tram, like the tram takes a good 5 minutes to load. So, and then it's like a 10-minute ride. And I would say at least 5 minutes to load, maybe closer to 10 in some cases. So it literally is an over 20-minute experience to get to where you would go for lunch if that was your only reason. And I guess I will say, if you were a family and you're doing, or anybody, and you're doing one stop at Lookout Cay, if you have kids that are going to want to play on the splash pad, or if you have kids that need like less intense wavy water, the cabanas are probably a disadvantage maybe in that sense.
You are very much isolated from the activities of the other side. It is not quite like a Castaway cabana where you can pretty easily rejoin the public areas. It's an adventure to get to the other side. So you're not going to have the experience of the characters, the splash pads, or the kids zones. You are very much isolated off. It is still very lovely.
Oh God, we loved our day. So let's briefly talk too about the weather. It was very overcast the entire day. So complete cloud cover basically, and a huge breeze. And that breeze was felt even on the walkway. So the walk from the ship to the middle part wasn't a big deal at all. Not with the cabana, we could have taken a cart from the ship to the cabana, but it was not an issue for us. We all kind of liked the walk. So, and it was frankly good for us to all get a little walk in. So we were happy to do that. They also will take you by cabana or by cart to the main part of the island, like where all the activities are from the cabana, but they don't wait for you, so you do have to come back via the tram. So you're still going to have the tram experience on your way back. So if like you wanted to go shopping, or because I guess for the most part you have to go to the other side for shopping, except for like, you know, a handful of items that they do sell.
Yeah, they have the first chance, last chance, but that's very much like one of those little stand kiosks, like where they sell the pins in the parks. It is like that amount of merchandise. There is not too much there.
Nope. So, it was a good day though.
It was lovely.
Yeah.
Not too hot. The water was rough. As we said, the weather was not quite cooperative with us.
But I talked to some people this morning, and they did say that the the water was not as rough
on the other side.
So it really is specific to those cabanas.
That would probably make sense because that's the side the ship docks on, so the water gets deeper out there faster.
Yeah. Blake and Dave played in the water for almost the entire day. So Blake was enjoying getting attacked by the waves. He tried to make some sand toys, but he was like, the waves are taking out the sand toys. I'm like, we'll move up the beach. He goes, but I want the waves to come a little bit, but they are coming up too much. I'm like, I don't know what to do with this information, child. So, yeah. So there was that. He had moments. But
can't control that too much.
No, overall, it was a really, 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 really just lovely day. There were flies as soon as the food came. So they delivered my allergy food very early on this day, which was fine. And as soon as we were like looking at the trays, we hadn't even started really completely unpacking it, flies had arrived. So I don't think it was at the cabanas. It wasn't a huge deal. They were present, and they were present around the food.
Yeah, so the rest of us walked over to the food area, and you could see them, like, very presently, and the cast there is well aware of it, doing their best. They had food covered and everything. Like, they're really trying. They understand it's an issue. The food selection there, though, was awesome. Similar to Serenity Bay at Castaway, where they've got some plussed up options, even more actually, because they had steak, and as you were in line, they'd asked if you want it, how you wanted it cooked, that sort of thing. But then they had salmon, crab legs, shrimp.
They had crab legs?
They did.
Wow.
Yeah, so quite a higher selection there, which is pretty cool. But you just take it back to your cabana if you want. They do have some seating areas there if you choose. I don't think very many people would choose because of the concentration of food. The flies were very present there. They were still at the cabana once we got the food there. I ate like at the inside part. They were still there. I didn't think it was quite as bad, not as bad as when we were at the public area for sure.
Yeah. I think Dave had more of a fly issue than the rest of us, but during his eating, but it still wasn't as bad as the first day at True. I can't.
True 2.
At the True barbecues. But really we just did that. Like I finished my book. I lounged a little. Yeah.
I mean, I sat in the inside part on that little couch for hours.
Yeah. So we all just sort of sat around. We went in the water. I think Katie went in the water the least.
I don't think she went in at all. I went in for a good while with Blake and Dave, though. We had a good time splashing around.
Yeah. So it was really relaxing, really nice, really easy day.
Yeah, and rest of the day was pretty much chill as well. I think you took the cart from the cabana to the security, which was only like a minute.
Right, and we thought it would take us all the way, which again, we could have walked, but at that we were just like, we don't have to walk. But apparently the cart transfer ends. Like you could take the cart all the way to the ship, but you have to do it earlier in the day. Or like maybe it ended at 3:30 or something like that. But it wasn't. It was fine. So we did the walk.
Yep, Katie and I walked back a little bit earlier. We just took our time to get ourselves showered and cleaned up, ready for dinner. We had dinner at Royal Court.
It was really good.
Oh my gosh, yeah. This menu surprised me because I didn't really have any expectations for it. And it was so good. And Freddie, our server, who has been amazing the whole time, his recommendations have like consistently been on point. He had recommended the chicken Alfredo, and pasta had already kind of disappointed me one time during this sailing. I was like, there's no way. I was like, but if Freddie recommended, it's got to be good. And sure enough, it was like one of the top tier meals I think we've had.
And I actually ordered the same chicken Alfredo. I ordered also the eggplant. They do like a baked or fried or something. I think it's baked, but breaded maybe. Eggplant dish. And I have tried to order this before. This night also was the lobster tail night, which Katie had lobster. You had lobster too?
I did too. I had two entrees.
And I was just, the eggplant sounded really good. I've had it before and it was total miss. It didn't come out gluten-free well at all. Like the server was like, I want to show you this to tell you I put in the order, but you can't eat this. Like it just, he was like, I don't want to serve it to you, but also I know you like to see how things come out. But then this time it was amazing. I actually thanked them at the end of the meal and was like, can you please, our head server had come by and I was like, can you please go tell the chef, whoever made this, thank you, because it was really good. And then the pasta.
It did look amazing.
Oh yeah, Katie tried it, but you didn't, right?
Yeah, she said it was good.
Yeah, it was really good. And then the pasta was actually really good as well. So I ordered the pasta because I was like, well, if they're not going to do that, then I'll do this. And if they can't make the pasta, then I'll come up with a plan C. He's like, yeah, let's see what happens. But so I had both.
She
they
got
were delicious.
all the plans.
Yeah, I got it all. And then last night was semi-formal night. And Minnie came back out in her peacock dress and her formal wear dress, and actually all the characters in the evening were in their formal wear. So if you missed them on formal night and you wanted pictures with them, you could try again on semi-formal night. So if you're on the fantasy, keep that in mind. The characters, we were talking before the show, or before we started recording, the characters.
You need me to pause?
know.
No, you're good.
Right.
Yeah, it's good.
Okay. But can we pause for character interaction? This cruise has been really good. Just they've been interacting well, but also there's been so many, and there's been
Tons.
a lot of roaming characters. So like even when I finished my run the other day, Mickey was roaming, and then somebody else was roaming. And when we were coming back on the ship yesterday from Lookout Cay, Mickey was actually roaming on deck 4 again. So just characters everywhere, really good interaction. They are being playful too. Like you guys had Donald come over when you were playing Lorcana.
Yeah, he was like all about what was going on there. And deck 4, like the place for roaming characters.
Yeah.
I was on runs. When I was on my run, there were some outside. I don't think we've sat over by the Vista where there hasn't been a character that's like come by at some point.
Yeah.
Like tons.
And that's the thing we really like too about the fantasy is just that deck 4 seating that you can find. And actually there's some on deck 5, less on deck 5, but there is seating up there. It just little opportunities to sort of be in public, but have seating. I really like that about the ship.
Yeah, it's been kind of our go-to place to either meet up or sit and listen to the atrium music when it's someone that we wanted to listen to.
Yeah, we've talked about Sister before, but they are just this great group. One of them's playing an instrument and the other one's singing, or they both sing, I guess. And they just sound so good. They're playing again tonight, I think, at the Carousel Bar.
La Piazza.
Yeah, we should go there.
Yep, and then I'm fond of the violinist.
Yep.
She's also playing tonight, but later. I think she only has 1 or 2 sets, but I'm hoping to catch that this evening too.
So after dinner, we listened to music and did some characters on deck 4, and then we went and saw Frozen.
We did, yes. This was a new Acadian Lake show. We had not seen Frozen on any of the other ships before.
God, we love Frozen. Did you love it?
I thought it was pretty good.
So you didn't love it?
I think there have been some better performers in some of the other shows.
And I think there were better performers in this show in the past.
But I'm
Dave
not
and
really looking to hold that against anyone.
Right.
Like, let's be honest, Elsa is a very hard part to match up with.
And she had a hard, I felt like, and Anna even, I feel like Anna's easier Anna performs well, mostly. How do we want to word this?
They just both had different styles of voices from the original characters,
yes,
which required some changes to some of the music.
Yeah.
And it wasn't all bad.
No.
But I thought, like, Let It Go started a little rough, and then she did, like, nail the melody in the middle. Like, absolutely. But there were some other sections where it was kind of like, oh, this is a little off.
Kristoff was slightly off, in my opinion.
Oh, I liked Kristoff.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. But it was really good. Like, the show was... I just really like that show. and overall and how they adapted it to be a theater and singing musical.
They always do a good job too condensing it just a little bit. Like anything over like an hour and a half would be way too much.
Yeah.
I think for a cruise line show. And they usually get it right in that like hour to hour 15 range, depending on what show it is.
It was crowded, so we talked about it. We still had we were able to get seating. I was going up to the concierge lounge to get a drink, and they said, "Oh, do you want to go down? This is like last chance to go to the show." So I went to the show. Hold on, pause there. So we had the opportunity to go into the theater as a concierge benefit, and I was able to take the elevator down. It opens up right into the theater seating area, and they had already opened up the door, and I just grabbed the 5 seats. It wasn't a big deal. But so we had been sitting there, and about 15 minutes before the show, I mean, there was hardly any seats available.
It was
at 15
full.
minutes before the show. So if you're going to see Frozen, definitely get there early.
Yeah, I do think this is the big one for this ship.
It is.
Like a lot of people on this sailing have sailed the Wish and have seen Aladdin, or have sailed the Fantasy before and have seen Aladdin.
Yeah.
So I don't think as many people were clamoring to see that, but this is a little bit more of a feature since the Wonder is a little bit harder to get to right now.
Exactly.
Still, great show. After that, I think you guys kind of wound down, right?
Yep.
And Katie and I tried to go to the Tube to see the percussion group. We haven't spent like any time in the Tube at all, which is, usually where some of the bigger adult entertainment happens. We got there and it was like probably as the show was starting, like they were already playing, and there were people standing outside of the Tube, like waiting to try to get in. So we kind of like peeked our heads in and we're like, okay, this is a lot. Like, we were clearly too late for this, so we just turned it around and packed it up for the night.
And then today was Churro Waffle Day at Cabana's. So Lake and Katie and I went up and had churro waffles.
Yeah, I actually thought Cabana's was surprisingly pleasant for Cabana's. Actually, both times we've eaten there, I thought it's been fine. It's never felt like, oh my gosh, this is intense and crazy.
I felt it was full.
It was, yeah.
But it wasn't like...
It wasn't like people like hawking seats or anything,
no.
like sometimes can happen.
Right.
Like if people needed to find a seat, they may have had to walk a couple sections, but it wasn't like there was 5 people already waiting there watching that person finishing up eating.
Yeah, none of that. And so, yeah, that was good. And then you guys did something.
We did. We went to go see Inside Out 2,
oh, right.
which was a premiere at sea. It actually started showing yesterday, but if you wanted to see it, last night, you were either going to see it during our showtime, during our dinner, or at almost midnight. So we decided to see it in the morning. We figured that would be the best theater time when there wasn't a ton of people. We were definitely right.
Oh,
it was not full at all.
Wondering.
We showed up, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes before. We went up to deck 4 just because that was the deck we were on. We're like, let's see what it looks like. And we were able to sit right in that front row there, which was awesome. And there was no one around us.
Sweet.
So that early morning showing is definitely the play, especially if it's in the Walt Disney Theater where it's huge. And they have playings of that today every hour on the hour.
Yeah, and both in the theater, the
and Buena
movie
Vista
theater, and then the main theater.
And after that, we met Christy and her family up by the pool deck food. Did some good old chicken tenders.
Blake and I, before that, went to open house at the Oceaneer Club.
Oh, how was that?
It was really good. It was really good. So they had advertised that they were going to have the Magic Play Floor, which Blake really wanted to be able to use. And we get there, and they didn't have the Magic Play Floor going. And we had asked the lady about it, and she said, the counselor, she goes, oh yeah, they started it in the lab. And I said, oh, but the lab is secured programming, right? And she's like, yeah. She goes, but yeah, it was supposed to be here. I'm going to tell them they need to make it here. And I realized that obviously involved like an engineer type person to get it going. And so that was probably like, you know, instead of starting it up in 2 different rooms, they're going to just do it in one. But she did call somebody, they did get it going, and we got to play the games. And then other families joined us that were there for open house. It was actually quite cute. And then after that, they did like this playtime. It was like a Mickey Mouse Clubhouse puzzle type. I don't even know how to describe it. But basically, though, 3 characters come out during this activity, and one at a time. And like it was Captain Minnie and Captain Mickey, and then Pluto came, and they each did a thing. Like they did a dance or a song. It was so fun, and the kids really enjoyed it. So it was nice that Blake got to go back and have a little Oceaneer Club time. So yeah, we did that. And then we went to maybe do a craft. That didn't work out. So then we went and did a little shopping, and then we met for food.
Yeah, and we all did some food. We had to get something in us because we had champagne tasting.
Yes.
We were all able to get into that, and that was in Ooh La La. And as always, champagne tasting was just consistently awesome.
Yep.
I will say we got like some different stories and stuff this time from what I've gotten in the past. A lot of times they've done like the history of champagne, and this time the sommelier really focused on like the history and families behind the champagne, which I thought was interesting. Some of it we'd heard before, but some of it was new and different, which is what's what makes it fun and repeatable.
Right. Even like describing the way the bottles are sort of prepared or held together or whatever. Like that was just a new fun fact. And I think this was like my 5th time probably doing champagne tasting. To me, champagne tasting is repeatable. Maybe it's because I enjoy drinking it so much, but also because of the different factoids that you get. This time there were little bites, and we had that when I did the cruise a couple years ago where Steve and his family were on with us. They don't seem to work out what allergens are in the little bites. So like they had macarons, right? Or macaroons?
Which either.
And they had a truffle, but they didn't know what was in them. So I didn't get to have any of those, which that does bug me a little because, I mean, they know what our allergies are. They have them on the ship. They know who registered. But just, even if you don't know it, just have the information because now so many people have allergens. And I want to eat chocolate with my champagne that's supposed to taste better with chocolate. So that's all. But it was really good. Dave really liked several of the champagnes and actually drank more than he normally does, I think. His champagne palate is growing.
Which is funny because it is like the same base champagnes for it. Like the tasting itself doesn't change a whole lot, but just the experience overall does. Again, the bites were new for Katie and I as well, so that was added. Also, there was bottled water there, which I don't think we had before.
Evian too, so it wasn't just any old water.
But yeah, it was overall though really good. I think we all really enjoyed our time there. Then we all collectively went back to our own rooms and did a little nap time, and that pretty much brings us to here where we have dinner in about 2 hours.
Yep, the concierge has their like deck party today, so that's going to happen at 4:30, and that's where they'll have drinks a little bit before happy hour, and then they'll have a character come, so we'll go to that. They always say it's, say cheese, and we never get to know who the character is. It's just whoever sort of shows up. So that'll be something that we'll be doing. And then our last concierge happy hour. I like concierge. Dave and I were talking about it. It's obviously a large additional cost, but it is just that little extra level of service. Not that we need it, right? But it is something we enjoy. And so we will continue to work it into our budget and vacation plans when it works and makes sense for us. Because it really, to us, we have value in it. So.
I will say, as someone who loves a veranda, I have actually not missed it like at all. Like we can not stop talking about how much we love our ocean view room.
Yay.
Now we do have like one of the upper levels with the big like dreamy porthole, as I say it. But yeah, we have loved our room, and our room is like ice cold all the time.
Yeah, you have a good cold room. Ours is not usually as cold. Today it got a little cold.
Only at night.
Oh yeah, when Blake is sleeping and he's freezing, it's cold.
Yeah, no, we have loved our room.
Yeah, good.
But I think that is going to take us out for now. We will either catch up with you again tonight or when we're off the ship tomorrow.
Yeah, I feel like it's going to be a drive back.
Driving snippet.
Yeah, type situation.
Well, either way, we will talk to you soon.
Bye.
Well, sadly, all sailings must come to the end. We are back in the car heading back towards Orlando. But we've got basically one more evening to talk about, and then we can talk about disembarkation, though it was pretty quick and smooth for us. You want to talk about the lounge, the character?
Sure. So Concierge had their character meet and greet. You never know who the character is going to be. We had Stitch. Stitch was so good. Like, one of the best character interactions ever. And I felt like they handled it really well, too. They basically weren't rushing any of the families, so that's just something good to keep in mind. There will be a character interaction for every sailing now in Concierge. So you can expect to have that. They give you a note on your door that says, say cheese! And then you get to go and see who the character is. So that's fun.
Yep, and then we had our final dinner in Animator's Palette. I don't know what I almost said there. But it was pretty good. I will say, though, Christy's chicken schnitzel kind of let me down a little bit.
I think you're just wrong. Dave and I thought it was great.
I did. I was impressed with the beef Wellington. I thought that was very good.
Oh, good. Yeah, your piece of beef looked actually really good.
Yeah, it was good. That was the big surprise of that dinner.
I got my chicken schnitzel gluten-free. I feel like the gluten-free options, they just did such a good job this cruise. Everything, so somebody reached out, so I just want to make sure it's clear for people who don't know. If you have an allergy of any kind, you will talk to your dining staff the day before each meal or each dinner. The day before, they'll give you the menu for the next day. You can pre-order breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I almost never pre-order breakfast and lunch because
spontaneity.
Yeah, spontaneity, and with just gluten as my allergy, quote unquote allergy, it's easy to just not worry about it. And it can be handled anywhere. But I do pre-order dinner because I often want something other than what's marked gluten-free on the menu. Like this cruise, I had pasta, I did have the eggplant, the like baked egg fried, whatever the eggplant dish was. I had fried brie. So all of those things would have had to be pre-ordered in order to get them. And so for that reason, I pre-order. Like if you want to go to Cabanas and have a Mickey waffle, you don't have to pre-order that if the allergy is just gluten because they already have that in the works. But like when it's Churro Waffle Day, I do just make sure to pre-order, even though I'm pretty sure they on Churro Waffle Day have those in the works anyway. But just to make sure they know that there's somebody that requests that. But yeah, I felt like my allergy process went really well. Oh, one more thing. In the past, you used to pre-order with your head waiter. But honestly now, the main waiters, 98 times out of 100 handle it. So more than likely, you're just going to put that order in with your primary waiter. And then the head waiter approves or signs or whatever one does there.
It wouldn't surprise me either if because we had requested the head waiter, but not our regular waiter. It wouldn't have surprised me if our head waiter assigned what he thought was a competent waiter to handle it, which Freddie absolutely was. We loved Freddie.
Yeah, for sure. And, oh yeah, Freddie, you guys. Freddie from Columbia, if you are on the fantasy... Oh, but he leaves, so never mind.
He only has 3 weeks left.
Unless you're on the fantasy in the next 3 weeks. And I think he doesn't even know where his next contract is going to be yet.
He said he goes to the Treasure at the end of the summer. So he'll go to the team that flies over, just like the Wish did, where even though they're not on the ship, they're like in the area.
Yeah. We restart. Okay. Blake loved our head waiter, Nolan, who my old head waiter that we'd had for years recommended. Blake called them the Squeakinator, like 4,000 or 1,000 or some numbers at the end. And he was fun. He was super fun with Blake. You know, at dinner, though, yesterday, there was the table next to us, which they were not at Animators the first night, because I feel like I would have remembered us sitting next to them. Oh, they were, but we were in different seats. Okay. So we ended up talking to this family, or this husband and wife a little bit. But while they were talking to their own table, I heard them say, oh, there were no table games this cruise. And that's true, there wasn't, but I feel like the service was so good, they were just busy providing amazing service. But yeah, there weren't like little riddles after dinner and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think that's something we could have asked for. We also didn't really linger too much after dinner.
Right.
And maybe that's because they didn't do the games, but
also they were just running and providing such good, amazing service. So, yeah.
Yeah, Freddie and Leroy were solid.
You know what I think, too? Because once they made that comment, I was thinking about this. I think they have another table, at least, than what they used to have before the shutdown. And
he had like 4 tables, at least.
At least. And so I think that's part of the issue, too. There's not as much lingering time. And you got to remember with the allergies, they have to run all over. And when we were on the Wish, our waiter was just like, oh, I'm so sorry. The allergies are just, we have so many of them this cruise, and it's just taking a lot of time. So I think that as more people have allergies, and more people that have allergies cruise Disney because they know they do such a good job, some of that is going to interfere with general service overall, because the servers have to go to different places to get the food. So maybe that makes a difference between the allergies and additional tables or people in the tables. But our service was really good.
And I will say overall, I think this has been some of the best dining for main dining room that we've had on any Disney sailing.
Yeah, our dining, I think, was really solid.
Yep, and our chef our waiters' recommendations were like almost always on point. But enough about dining. We have talked a whole lot about food. Rest of the evening, we went to La Piazza, listened to Sister Sister play for a little while.
Love them.
I grabbed I think they had like a French beer in there that I had ordered. And then after that, I think you guys went back to pack and wind down.
Yeah, we watched Believe in the cabin. Blake absolutely loved it because, you can watch it on your shipboard TV. And I'll note that it made it look, the ship TV, it has like a channel for the Walt Disney World Theater. Well, not whatever. Walt Disney Theater. It made it look like it was just going to play Frozen, but it was the Believe night, and it did play Believe. So give it a minute. Have faith that it's going to do the right thing, and it will. Do you say Frozen was after?
No, it's the TV one starts 15 minutes after the show in the theater starts.
Oh.
Because at 8:30 in the theater, it's 8:45 on the TV.
But you know what? It's not really quite 8:30 anyway, because they come and talk to you for a minute, so maybe it's still closed. But just watch that.
Yeah, and Katie and I went, and we actually went up and sat up by Currents. It was actually a pretty nice evening. You could see the Florida coast off in the distance, and then on the other side, you could see all of the ships that had just left Port Canaveral that day. So we saw a Carnival ship, we saw Allure of the Seas, and we saw the Disney Wish.
Yeah,
all floating by.
The Allure was really close.
Yeah. And we sat up there until about 10 o'clock, because then we went back down to Ooh La La, because the violinist was pretty much playing in there from 10 till midnight, and we sat in there and grabbed some drinks and just listened to her play till midnight.
I love that.
Yeah, it was very lovely. But that closes out our final full day. Good way to end it on a day at sea, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Loved the ending of the day at the sea.
Yep. And then this morning we woke up and it was get off the boat day.
Yeah.
Get off the ship day.
So, do you want to talk about Express Walkout really quick?
Yeah, so we both got off the ship in different ways. Katie and I did express walk-off, so we carried all our luggage. When we got down there maybe 10 minutes after they had started express, and there was a pretty big line. It pretty much wrapped all the way back down to the theater, around the shops, and then back the other way. And there was a little bit of like a pretzel knot going on of people waiting to get in line. However, that line moved constantly. There was never a stop. So we maybe waited for the pretzel to break up like 5 minutes. And then once we got in the line, it was less than 10 minutes from the line to getting down through security and outside. It was super easy. Katie had to use her birth certificate because her passport expired. If you were a passport-only family, you could use the face scanners.
You don't even have to take your passport out.
Yep.
It is so fast.
Yep, it just scans your face and you get a red light or a green light. Katie and I had to do the old-fashioned, give our stuff to a customs officer, and even that was quick because there was not a lot of people in that line. I think there was like 2 people ahead of us. So yeah, less than 10 minutes really to about 15 to get off the ship.
We used the concierge go out of the ship line basically, and by the time we did that at about 7:55 a.m. the line to exit the ship was really wrapped around. I assume it was the same line you had, but it was the entirety of third deck. They do have a good system. I mean, it looks confusing and like a bad system, but they do kind of have a good system for wrapping the people around just to make it so that the people flow. When you're in concierge, they will walk you out at a certain time and they will just walk you to basically the exit so you can avoid that wraparound line if you get to it in time. So we did that and we got out. It wasn't too bad.
Yeah, getting out of the port was pretty easy. We did hit the drawbridge going up, which stops the traffic, but otherwise easy. And a really, really great sailing overall.
Yeah. Oh, it's over.
I know. 2 days at Lookout, a day at Castaway, like basically a triple dip. How many sailings triple dip?
Right. I mean, they do in the future now, but not. It's so cool.
Not often.
Right.
And it knocked out our Grand Slam too.
Yay!
Katie and I have hit all the ships until the treasure comes out.
Yay!
Which was exciting. We were talking about our list of favorite ships now, and I think the Fantasy topped both of ours. Fantasy was an awesome ship. We loved the adult spaces and the theming of those spaces. They were amazing.
You know, and I feel like because of the way the space is set up, there's much more music being played than like on the Wish. I really do think that that's what I missed from the Wish the most, is just the music listening opportunities. And part of that is how the adult spaces are set up. So yeah, I love the Fantasy. She's still my favorite. This sailing was so smooth too, because usually the Fantasy could be feel a little rough, but with motion. But this one was so smooth because we didn't go anywhere.
Yeah, it never had to rush anywhere.
So
like we just meandered very slowly through the Bahamas.
Yeah. You felt it. You felt it going down to Lookout Cay. So I wonder if it's where it's located in the Bahamas, because both days going and coming out of there, you felt a tiny bit of movement.
Yeah. It was stormy a little bit
that's
second
true.
day too. Overall, though, still very, very manageable, I think.
Yeah. So good.
Right.
Such a good cruise. I'm so glad we did it.
Absolutely. And the fact that, we booked it like a year and a half out, like did all the waiting to get to go and do Lookout Cay.
Yep. And it was worth it.
Yeah. But I think that is going to end this Snippets and end our little cruise series here. Thank you all so much for listening, and we'll see you next time. Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone.
The DCL Podcast is not affiliated with the Disney Cruise Line, Walt Disney Company, Adventures by Disney, or Run Disney. All of the opinions expressed on our shows are those of the hosts and the guests who appear on the show. If you have any questions about any of these products, please contact the Walt Disney Company.